Did you know Jesus defines Holy Spirit? In Mark chapter 13, verse 11, the yellow highlighted text that you see, Jesus teaches sometimes the words people say are not their own words. The words are from or by Holy Spirit. And in Matthew chapter 10, verse 20, Jesus teaches, Holy Spirit is our Father's word speaking from your mouth. Now, I did some editing in the blue and green highlighting, and the word in, and I had to add the word through, because we have 4 examples of our Father's words. The first example, Luke chapter 1, verse 67, tells us when Zacharias declared John's the Baptist's life, these words had to be said by our Creator, for he prophesied John's life. The second example we have is Luke chapter 1, verse 41, when out of Elizabeth's mouth she declared Mary's son is blessed. These 2 verses prove their words were our Creator's words coming from their mouths. The third and fourth example are in Luke chapter 12, verse 12, and Matthew chapter 12, verse 28, where Jesus teaches our Creator's words will be said in their mind, and then they are to say his words. Other examples of our Creator's words coming to their mind are in the Hebrew text, where the prophets are being told to go out, and then our Creator will tell them what to say. Thus, Jesus teaches us there is no Trinity. All right, I guess that's over. I was working here. This is going to be chapter 18. And what I'm doing here is showing you some of the verses that I found in 17. They're just a bunch of pieces. So let me go over what I am trying to prove, and that is the first writers wrote text in a special way. And what I have here is one word and a second main word, and then connecting them with the least amount of smaller words. Sometimes I don't need them, sometimes I do. So, but 2 main words and then connecting them together. And what happens in a 3-verse format is that this first one becomes a statement, and then these 2 connect together. Okay, and that's what I was trying to do, is put the comma in here to show how it connects, and then it will connect again. And then what I have here is a small paragraph and then another small paragraph. And what you're seeing is I've done a little editing here. I don't know if I did this in the last video or not, but to make it 3-verse, that's what you're seeing here, is 3-verse format. And then all of a sudden I have a 4-verse format, and a 4-verse format goes that this one and this one connect together like a regular sentence, and then again it happens that way, but it makes a small paragraph, and then I have another small paragraph, and then the 2 of them together equals a larger paragraph. So when you read these, you can see that's the style I'm looking for of the writing. And when I get done with 18, I will clean it up. So if you want to just skip by how I'm editing or why I'm changing words, you'll find after 30 years of finding formats, I'm pretty good at this, and I know a lot about the stories and histories of the Bible, and the correct ones, by the way. And so a lot of times I've got maps, I've got other things I can point to. Here is a Bible program that no longer exists. But if I click on a word, it shows me in Hebrew, and then it tells me how many times they're used at an English word, and you can see, well, that, but this one here, you can see they're used it multiple different ways, but just like for the word which, 1924 times. But now here, this is it's kind of like when you read the description, it's really kind of made up, so you can't really trust. Did you know Jesus defines Holy Spirit in Mark chapter 13? I'm sorry, I got to learn that I got to shut that off, so I'm sorry, I don't know how long that had been playing in the background. So I guess I'll restart here a little bit to show you what's going on. Sorry about the problem there. This text here. No, that just happened. Yeah, that just happened because I thought I seen it before I left this page. Now, what I have here is 3 words, but I wouldn't need this. This word, alas, the land of whirling wings. That is really weird. Flying wings would be the better word. That's why they got rid of this word and put their own word in here, whirling. Because if you just put flying wings, oops, still got the caps locked down here. Flying winged, and I would say it's winged, flying wings. Okay, so let me do something here real quick. Okay, now what I see here is the word alas. So when I go over here to this program, I can see that it's kind of used for woes 34 times and alas. So I'm going to go here and put it as a woe because the story down here is talking about darker skinned people living in Ethiopia. I'm trying to figure out if it's good or bad or if it's woes or not woes. Okay, I don't know if it's going to be woes, so I'm going to put it in anyway in case it goes that way. So I'm going to say I'm adding in woes to the land, and it's not land that they're going to be talking about here. This is what I do when I'm adding text. This is what I'm doing, replacing a word, colorizing. And as you see the blue, I'm getting rid of it. Woe to the people. Woe to the kingdom or kingdoms. I'll leave it as kingdom to begin with. Because if you glanced at that text with me, you would have seen they're talking about their invoice being sent and stuff. So if it's invoice, then it is kingdoms with the MS. So that solves that problem for me. Of the flying winged. And let's see, we can I to the kingdoms. Okay. Woe to the kingdoms because this has got to be speaking to the Great Migration, what they would see of birds heading down their flood. They're probably most likely following the Nile River. So woe to the kingdoms where the winged rest beyond the rivers of Cush. Boy, I got a rough one right off the bat here, and anyways, I got to figure it out, because it's the starting of the kingdom of the story. You can see there was many pieces, many verses, all sticking to the subject, where the last one I had just nothing but pieces all over the place. So let's see here. What have I got here? Woes to the kingdoms. This almost like, I want to say, where the where the but here, let me see what the word wing is. Should have done that. Wingspan, wing. Okay. Or if I just put, don't use that word because I have to add something here to make sense, where the birds, because we know we're talking about birds, not too many other things have wings, right? So where the birds rest, well, the which would be the word where. So let me show you that again here. The word which, and if I come down here, it's got what, whatever, where, C5100. There's a lot of times that it's being noted as where. So if I did that here, got to get rid of this. Woes to the kingdom of the now, if it's migration, let me tell you, I've seen back in the early 60s in Michigan, wasn't the upper part of the hand of Michigan, was not really, it was still dirt roads. People were only living around the lakes and just major roads going back and forth. And when you've seen the birds migrate from Canada, especially the small ducks, the mallard ducks, we sat there and watched, and the sky would just turn black. And then you'd see them all rust. Then you'd see a couple of them take off, flying back north. And about a half hour later, a whole another one would turn the sky just black. And they kept going back and forth. We watched that for probably about 5 hours on the way home. We literally stopped and took a break. We were so amazed at what was going on. So of the migrating birds, oh, man, spelt that right. Although I'm going to have to say that I added that. So, migrating birds, where they rest. Beyond. Now, rivers, this has to be, look, there's not that many big rivers in that they would know about except for the long river, the Nile River. So I'm going to put the word Nile in here. Beyond the Nile. Now, if anybody looks at what we found by the planes flying over and taking pictures, the lower part of Africa has like road construction and looks like blocks, but they're huge. I don't know how long these things are, but it's like the whole lower part bound below the Nile is just nothing like that, nothing but these roads going back and forth and up and down. So it was very populated down there. It's just to let you know back then. And we're seeing them talk about them here. Woes to the kingdoms of the migrating birds, where they rest beyond the Nile. So this here has to be where again? Where they, from where they said. So I have to add the word where's from here. From where they send. Their envoys or their messengers. I'm trying to make this text so it's easy enough for a 12-year-old to read and understand. So and I got a spell too for them. Were their messengers, send their messengers on the sea. Where they send their messengers by sea, by the sea. So I don't need the word the. I'm just trying to see, you know, I'm trying to actually write like they would write back then and try to understand the verbiage, how they would use it, and by sea. So they've got, so you know that they've got boats down there, and their messengers are to talk to other peoples. Let me see here. Yeah, see this here, the land of the winged, okay, is down below here. So the thing here is they are trading with everybody else, and even India is well known. So there's this trading that's going on as well. So so it might be merchants. Now that picture that I showed you is at the time of Solomon. So, but when Assyria comes down, it's going to wreck all the shipping lanes and stuff, all the shipping for that country. That actually it was in Lebanon, a city named Tar, and it's the main shipping. They built all the ships because Lebanon had cedar trees that are needed to be. They're very straight, and they need the main starting the boat, which is like, I don't know what it is. Is it the keel, the bottom, the main piece of wood that starts from top to the end Anyways, they had those pieces of wood that could make these mighty what was I say, trading vessels, and they did trade all over the place. So just to let you know kind of what I'm thinking here and how come this is now talking about this area. Even in papyrus, this is paper. Papyrus is where you take the reed before it comes up out of the water and starts turning green. It's white, and you pick them and you lay them crisscross and then flatten them and press them. It becomes a piece of paper. So even in paper trees, I don't think so. Maybe I've got this word wrong here. Maybe that's not. Well, yeah, that isn't how they're explaining it, but they make wicker from it. So these are more or less reeds. So that's not correct either. But they're taking it as the reed that's turned green, and then when you make it, it turns brown for making baskets. This would have to be in their vessels. We know they're ships. So right now, what I tell you, if they're exploring down there at the end of bottom of the African continent Africa, and they find boats down there, they could be some of the boats that they built, because I'm sure they had shipwrecks as well. So this, for historical reasons, this is the proof that they were there. I'm going to get rid of that. And oops, I think I added there in their ships. They can't be boats when you're on the large ocean, so they have to be ships. Can't call them boats. In their ships, surface of the seas. Surface and water is the same thing. So this is telling me this. This is just, it just came to me. So and their ships on, but I've already got seas here. and their ships on the now this could be on the river, even their boats on the river. Then if I'm using text from here, this is a rough start today. Even in their boats. On the rivers they go. Even on the from where we send their messengers by sea, even their boats on the rivers. Do I put their rivers? But the Nile River is there, so they're using the Nile to go up and down to get to Egypt. That's a long way to go. But back in the day, the river was probably even wider than what we know it now. So even on the rivers they go. That's how I got to get the word go here. I don't need the word swift. That's just a verb for here. So let me say this. This has got to be ships. From where they send their ships by sea, even in their boats, on the rivers they go. So this has to be ships. And I got to add that. Even in their boats, on the rivers they go. With now these are talking about the ships and rivers, or ships and boats, with messengers to kingdoms. But this has got to be kingdoms. I don't think Lower Africa is so big they have to have more than one kingdom, okay? But when you see those pictures, you got to appreciate the size and the organization that was going on. So this, I got to put kingdoms. Talking one thing, typing another. With messengers from their kingdoms. Who are tall and smooth. Now, a lot of people don't know darker skinned people, many from I don't call them blacks because they aren't blacks. Nigerians are, Ethiopians might be black, Nigerians might be black, but everybody else there is more darker brown. So anyways, they're tall and smooth, which means their skin is smooth. I mean, it's softer. But the thing here is we know them tall and darker. They're tall and darker. That's a better word than smooth. Tall and darker. They aren't just one people if they're different kingdoms. And they too would have I'm not going to put pace. I'm going to say a race. A race feared far and wide. They're speaking of it as one. This, I don't think they're oppressive. This has to be kingdoms. Maybe I got it wrong. Maybe it is a complete kingdom down there, which would be huge. I mean, let's put it this way. When you see a big, or you understand that picture of all the, what looks to us like it could be roads, but there, I mean, a mile wide road. I don't know. A powerful kingdom. Land. They used rivers as boundaries. So if I use this word and this word and go here, a pearl and oppressive kingdom. Nope, that's not working right. A powerful kingdom whose land the rivers divide. Yeah, they're separate. I was just trying to figure out, but this is a 3 verse. Because whose land the river divides. This is like this and like this, and this would make the statement. But if it's a 4 verse, then I have to put this here and say that belongs there. Now, all you inhabitants of the world, dwellers on earth. But this, when it says where they go, and this is this, if that's connecting to this, then here, and they too would probably have horns, not trumpets. Horns you can blow and they're making a longer, louder sound to get the attention of people. As soon as the horns are blown, you will hear it. See, that's the thing. That's now the fuchsia-colored words are added in 1977 Bible. So I'm needing this word. As soon as this has to be their horns are blown, you will hear it. As soon as their horns are blown, you will hear that them. Now this is like a different subject here. So what is this text telling me? This is almost like I need to take some text up here and say, to all, I like everyone, to everyone on earth. To everyone on earth. No, they got world because they got earth here. So this is one of those rare opportunities where I have to say they knew both what the word world meant, would probably be all their understanding of the trading people and the people that exist. And yes, that's the knowledge of everybody, meaning world. The knowledge, everyone. Now, inhabitants, this is going to be gone. To everyone, this is what it means on earth, and living to everyone, to all kingdoms that are living on earth. Okay, I think this is getting closer, but I'm going to have to go back here and use the word all, or I would use every. To all the kingdoms and I've got this divided wrong because we got to get the people involved here. So I'm going to say kingdoms on earth. To every race. I see what's going on. Okay, to every race now this is not reading smooth now. To every race. Okay, so I don't need the word kingdoms here. But I have to put the word living back here. Living on earth does seem to be the correct word. To every race living on earth. Okay, finally got that. Soon a standard. Now this almost like our creator's going to raise Jesus here, or so soon a standard will be raised on our hills. Soon a standard will be raised on our hill. And as soon as our this doesn't make sense. There's nothing to go with this text. There's too much missing here. And I just happen to think that the word that I put up here as woes is wrong. Alas, there's got to be a better word than alas. How does secular theorists do this. Regretted. That doesn't sound right either, the way this word should be used. It's like send to the kingdoms of the migrating birds where they rest beyond the Nile, from where they send. Now, because let me do that. Now, this is changing the subject, but I'm going to say, send to the kingdoms. Send to the kingdom. I figured out it was one. Send to the kingdom of the migrating birds where they rest beyond the Nile. From where they send their ships by sea, even in their boats, on the rivers they go. With messengers to, not from, to their kingdom. Who are tall and darker, a race feared and wide, a powerful kingdom whose land and rivers divide. And to every race living on earth. Wow. They're talking about the standard Jesus is going to be raised, and to every race living on earth soon. Our standard. Soon his, meaning our Creator's standard. Soon his standard will be raised on our hills. Soon his standard will walk on our hills. Will walk on our hills. It is Jesus, is it? I'm thinking. So as soon as his soon as our, it's got to be back to our, soon as our horns are blown for you to hear. And I don't need this. What I'm thinking, this is as soon as our horns are blown for you to hear, for you to know he is living, and to be honored and respected. So I'm just going to put something like this and this, and then get rid of this and say these two is where it's ending or not, or missing text. Because they're going to be talking that this is the standard Jesus, and right now this is where they're sending everybody. They're notifying every race on earth, okay, about Jesus. But this is the best description of those there on the bottom of Africa, located at the bottom of Africa, from way up here in the north, northern hemisphere. Okay. Now this is a different subject. Home. Now look for my home. This doesn't make any sense here. If I put these words down here, that could be a reverse. Then he will be cut off. But this isn't. Look, Isaiah is going to have some text that is going to come up that's going to describe that he's seen in a vision Jesus' death, and he is trembling and shaking at night. So this is where they're just trying to put it in these kind of words, and I won't allow it. They will be left together, mountain praise bird, beasts of the earth. Some of them, too much nothing in there. At a time, give time. Whose land is divided to be their places. Because I was telling you about all the roads down there, what it looks like, and maybe that's how they divided people who live in those areas. A powerful kingdom whose land. Maybe those are actually channels of water that we're seeing. I don't know. I've got to do some investigating because that's very important right here. I mean, I don't think the rivers would still be there today. They wouldn't just dry up. Whose land is divided. Whose land is divided. Or living. That's the only thing I can see. I don't know if it's like to be established, but it's something like that. But that's the best I can come up with right now off the top of my head. And it all comes from coming down here and seeing divided into places. Okay. But none of this counts. Okay. So if I don't have anything to go with this, this has to be out as well. And then this is what I need out of 18. Save that text, go down to the bottom. I'm going to go that far. See. Okay, now that's what it looks like when I clean it up and it looks good. But this is a comma, this is a comma, this is a comma, this is a comma. This has got to be a different group. So let me put a period here, 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 and here. Then it's going to be here, 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 and here. Then here and here. Comma, comma, period, period. Now I'm going to take these two and put them here. Because it's got to be telling why they're going to blow the horns. Okay. But that's all one piece. So when I move it, it's got to be said that it's just chapter 18. And then this will be 19. And I'm going to do that one a little later tonight. So I will be back on. And, but you see, and I don't know if this is a prophecy. So I don't know how to say if this is a prophet speaking or, and all this tells me that Lower Africa was really populated up until Jesus's time. That's a lot of history that I don't think is really found anywhere else. yet. So I'm kind of proud to see that text up here. But I will call this one an end, and I'll get with you again later today. So this one was only an hour long. That's short, but that's the way they're coming, although that was